Ahoy there, welcome back to Build with the Boys. We've now got issue 50. I think it's just some fanfare for 50. I've got no party poppers left, but I think 50 feels like a big deal. Issue 50 of Hachette Build the Titanic, and in this one, there's not loads to do, which is kind of the theme of this month, unfortunately, but it's quite an eclectic mix. So in this one, we get 2 more lifeboats. We got our first cutter. We're making another davit. We've got a dome for the aft grand staircase, or the not so grand staircase, if you will. And we also have an LED strip as well to install into the base of our decking. So there's not loads to do, it's kind of all over the place. We've got some benches as well, so it's just detailing that we're really doing. If you just stick around with the instructions, that's excellent. If you are sticking around for our Titanic tale, we'll be talking about whose knickers went down on the Titanic. Intrigued? You will be. Stick around for the end and we'll talk all about that. But let's get this done, let's get into it, and let's do our first cutter. Okay, so here's everything you get in stage 50. That's it. It's not loads, but we've got 2 lifeboats. We know all about those. We've got 2 tarps. Now, one of these has got holes, one of them doesn't. We've got our cutter, which is just essentially a smaller version of a lifeboat. Bits to make davits, benches, and as I said, we have the smaller dome. Now, if I compare this to the grand staircase dome, which is over here, you can see there is a significant difference between the two. This is for the aft grand staircase, or as I said, the not so grand staircase. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the cutter. Now this one has its own fairly unique, it's easy to tell, it's smaller. So we're going to take the cutter, remove these pieces, don't need those. We're using these pieces here. And what we're going to do is go and insert one of these into here like so. Now it will hold, but you are going to need to glue this. So one's going to go in there, one's going to go in the other end, but you will need to put glue into these because they're not going to hold without it. And you can see you don't want that going on. You want them both facing the same direction. So what I'm going to do is I will glue these in place and then we'll take a look at how that looks. But that's what we're going for. So there we have it. That's how we want to zoom in there. That's how we want to be looking. That's glued in place. That's that one done. Next we work on our lifeboats. We know the deal with this one. So we're going to take our top all of the holes in. That's going to clip onto our lifeboat like so. And then we're going to take what they call the gears. And we're going to pop that one in there. Again, they're saying do not glue. So let's listen to them. They're saying don't glue, we won't glue. Don't know why, that's what they're saying. So that one, it holds pretty firm, that glue anyway. So that's that one in. There we go. That's that one done. Now, we're not doing anything with this lifeboat in this one. So what I am going to do is I'm going to fit this tarpaulin in here. Just hold it all together, keep it in place when it goes into my little Titanic storage box. It's all together. So that's how that one looks. Next thing we'll do is we'll bring up the deck in to install the LED strip, which is this one here. Okay, so again, putting this on the side rather than line it down, we're going to take our LED strip, and this bulb here is going to pop through that hole there. That's going to light up a funnel at some point, I would imagine. Pop that one in, and then I'm going to use the screwdriver method just to, from the other side, lower those down, pop that in place. I'm going to get that done. So there you go, that one's all installed in place, and that's all we're doing. We don't have to plug this one in. I did use the test board on it to make sure my lights are working. They are, but that's in. So there will be, that's what I can show you. So we've got 1, 2, 3 of these, and now there is definitely going to be a 4th one going here because I can see the space for it. So we will have a 4th one to go in. I think that might come in 52. But that's it for now. We're going to flip this one over and we're going to put some of the detailing onto it. Okay, so we've built our davit there. You can see a lot easier when you're only building one of them. There's only parts for one, a lot simpler. And we are installing it here. So this is going to pop in this side of our deck. I'll pop some glue on the bottom of it. There we go. So that one's going to go in there. And that will eventually marry up to this one here to hold a lifeboat. Benches are the next thing we're going to install, and then that, believe it or not, is the end of this one. This really is just the briefest of flirtations with what we're doing. So our benches are going to go here and here. I'll zoom in for you so you can see what we're doing. There we go. So we've got very, 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 very tiny benches. As you can see, very blurred benches there. There we go. Tiny benches. But we're going to pop them in and I'll show you exactly where they're going. So let me get these glued up and we'll install them. Okay, so let me just kill my headlamp there. We're going to put the first one in here. So let's drop that one down. There we go. That's one. I'll get the other one glued up. And then here comes number two. Just next to it here. Just drop that one down. There we go. Oop. Drunken bench. That's probably where I'd be hanging out. Let's hold that one in place. And there we go. So we've got two benches in. Now the only thing left for us to do is to put the aft staircase skylight in. Now that's just going to rest in, so we're not gluing anything in, but I'll do it. So this is where we are, and we're just going to take our skylight and we're going to drop that one in. That's it, that's where that one goes. Now they say don't glue this. They say you can hold it in place with masking tape if you want to. Yeah, I guess you can, or you can just take it off until you actually install it to the model for safekeeping, because I don't want to lose that. But that, believe it or not, is number 50 complete. Very, very, very short build, but we've had an impact. Let's have a chat. So that's it, that's 50 complete. It's not made a huge impact, it hasn't, compared to, other ones we've done, but it's all relevant, it's all got to be done. I mean, that one did feel a little bit fillerish, if I'm honest, but it's done. It needs to be done, it's done. If you're just sticking around for the build instructions, thank you for stopping by. Please remember to both like and subscribe. It helps the channel massively and really appreciate your support. If you're sticking around for our Titanic tale, because it is Valentine's month on the channel, we're talking about all things love and Valentine's, and Valentine's isn't just about love, sometimes it's about lust. So there was a saying that went around in 1912, and it was whose knickers went down on the Titanic? Ooh la la. Well, it was Lady Duff Gordon. And this is Lady Duff Gordon. So Lady Duff Gordon was exactly that, lady. So it's first class, and she was travelling with her husband, Cosmo Duff Gordon. Cosmo Duff Gordon. Can you think of a more upper class name than that? So Cosmo Duff Gordon and Lady Duff Gordon were travelling with their staff, and they were travelling first class. And Lady Duff Gordon was quite the talk of the town, because she was making a lot of money, and she was making it from her fashion business, which was called Lucille. And Lady Duff Gordon was very much, Lucy Duff Gordon was her name, and she was very much the first it girl. So before the roaring 20s had started to roar, Lady Duff Gordon was already blazing a trail with her very modern, at the time, fashions. But what caused tongues to certainly wag was that she'd started fashion lingerie. And her idea was to take it kind of out of the gutter and bring it to the masses, and maybe the masses would like some sexy lingerie. Ooh la la. I say sexy. Times have changed. Here is a look at Lady Duff Gordon's very, very, very controversial for its day lingerie. Oh my. So it's not exactly Ann Summers, is it? But for its day, it certainly was, because underwear was functional. That was its whole point. It served a function. This is what it does. And she thought, well, no, you can make it look a little bit provocative, a little bit sexy. What's wrong with that? That was her whole thing. And she believed that this is, and this is her words, well, this underwear does serve a function, just not the function that you're thinking of. And it does. So it was controversial, because it was seen as, well, surely harlots, only people do that. That was kind of the attitude of the time, that what kind of a nice woman would wear that? Well, people judged back then, didn't they? If only they'd known how much money was in this. And when she was a trailblazer and started making some serious wedge with this underwear, people started to change their opinions. So why did Lady Duff Gordon's knickers go down on the Titanic? Well, she, her husband Cosmo, and all of her staff were able to get off of the Titanic very quickly. and they left in a lifeboat that had 12 people on board. Could have took 40, 12 were in a lifeboat. Most of the people on board it were crew. You believe that? There were more crew on that lifeboat than any passengers, but her husband and their handmaids were on board. And they started to sail away. And being very her, she made a comment as they were looking at the Titanic sink, and she said to her maid, "Oh, your beautiful gown goes down with that vessel." And one of the sailors, it just pissed him off. And he said, he snapped. And he said, "Really? You lost your gown?" He said, "Well, you can replace your gown, can't you?" He said, "Whereas me and the rest of my boys here have just lost everything we had. Our wallets were on board there. Everything's gone. We're not going to get that back. All of our personal effects are gone. We can't replace them. And there are people on board there that have just lost their lives and everything they own that they can't replace. But yeah, your gown's gone." Cosmo felt a little bit embarrassed by this, gave his wife the daggers, and offered each of the crewmen £5. Doesn't sound like a lot of money. Was a lot of money. When you bear in mind a second-class ticket on board Titanic, you could get for around about £19. £5 was quite a lot of money. And he offered it to them because he felt bad. And, you just saved our lives. And he said, "Look, I just want to offer you this money to see you through until you get back on your feet and maybe replace some of the things you've lost." And he offered each of them £5. That gesture caused a lot of problems for them, because when they got to the Carpathia, sure enough, Cosmo, true to his word, wrote each of the crewmen a cheque for £5. And they thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't the end of it, because as a lot of the stories of the Titanic got embellished by the tabloids, there was then a belief that what had actually happened was Cosmo had paid all of the sailors on board £5 to not go back, to not turn around and go back for any swimmers in the water. They all deny this. So the crew say, "No, that's not true at all. That's not. He offered the money, not so we go back, just because she made this very snotty comment." But there's no smoke without fire. I mean, once this had happened, that's it. So the belief is that that's exactly what they did. They paid the crew not to go back. It's quite insulting to the crew to think they could be bought so easily, that they wouldn't save lives if there was a fiver in it for them. It's insulting to the crew. It's insulting to Cosmo, who was, by all accounts, a man of good character. It's a little insulting to Lady Duff Gordon, who was just... She was a ditz. She was what she was. But their business never recovered. So the Lucy brand, which was the Lucille brand of underwear, still going now. Lucille lingerie is still going now, but it took a massive hit as a result of this. And that was pretty much the end of her empire. So that's why Lady Duff Gordon's knickers went down on the Titanic, because it was pretty much the end of her business. Her reputation never really recovered, and it haunted them for years, that they'd paid to save their own skins at the cost of everybody else. So when you're the face of a brand, it doesn't sit particularly well. And that is whose knickers went down on the Titanic, and that is a very brief, pun intended, lingerie and lust story for Valentine's month on the channel. We will be back very soon with issue 51. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And in Valentine's month, if you have the opportunity to tell someone you love them, tell them. Thank you for stopping by, and we will see you very soon for issue 51. I'll catch you then.